All right, we are live. So welcome back to DAP University. So today we got a lot to talk about in our stream. We're going to start off by looking at the crypto markets because I think, everybody's sitting around checking their phone this weekend is noticing some higher prices in crypto land than we've seen in the past couple weeks. We've seen pretty bearish, choppy territory, and it looks like there could be some signs of hope. We're going to talk about that at the top of this video today. Look at a lot of other news updates that have happened in this space since our live stream on Friday. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday on this channel. Just turn on notifications, subscribe. You'll find out about those whenever you go to live. We're going to answer some of your questions and a lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dapuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. Last but not least, like nothing I'm saying, this video is designed to be financial advice for you. And there's lots of scammers down in the comment section below. Just ignore them. Like I'm never going to give you my phone number on YouTube. Never going to ask you to invest with me. So we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Michael. We got Catley, Above Reality. Ritas, I hope I'm saying that right. Ritas. Ricardo. We got ENIAC, Norris, Anthony. Welcome, Abhishek. So let's go ahead and jump into this first, kind of big thing that I think a lot of people are watching. If you're into the crypto space, you're following the news, watching social media, watching crypto prices, is what's going on in the crypto markets has definitely caught a lot of people's attention. Okay, and so we have Bitcoin. Let me just share my screen here. Oh, actually, before I do this, I think when I share my screen, it's going to bring my my co-host Walshy onto the stream here. So if you're just tuning back in the streams for the first time in a while, welcome, Walshy.
Yeah, hey, morning, Gregory. Hey, everybody, GM, everybody. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at IamWalshyNFG. And as always, really happy to be here. Happy Monday.
Yeah, also, Walshy's going to be sharing like some stuff that we talk about on the streams, maybe doing some additional follow-up from what we talk about here. So this will be some added value if you want to kind of join in on the conversation, maybe submit story ideas. There's stuff you want to talk about in the streams, definitely go ping him on there, and we can definitely take a look at that. So anyways, let's jump into what's going on in the crypto market. So Bitcoin is back above $43,000. We're pushing close to $44,000. And what I want to talk about here is that, Bitcoin is what I want to look at is Bitcoin's performance over the past few weeks. Okay. So what I got pulled up here is, a candlestick chart of the weekly candles for Bitcoin, because of course, we saw this, trend however long trend reversal. The Bitcoin price still at top here back in early November. We've been on this bearish trend for a long time that have cast a lot of doom and gloom scenarios for crypto in general. Okay. And I think what we're seeing here, in the very least, is kind of, casting doubt on some of these doom and gloom scenarios that I'm just seeing happen across the board. Okay. So, let's talk about some scenarios on the table here. So, some scenarios are definitely that we could have a bottom in the crypto markets, and that, we very well could be resuming an uptrend. It's, so whether that happens now or whether that happens later, I think that is going to happen because of my thesis on what's going to happen with the crypto markets. My opinion, we're building technology that is valuable, that has real use cases. That I watch the adoption metrics all the time. Maybe we can look at some of those adoption metrics later in the stream. Okay. And as you have cryptocurrency that is integrated into that technology, that can have a supply and demand, aspect to it that causes the cryptocurrencies themselves to be valuable and have stronger demand, which leads to higher prices over time. So that's my base case for all of crypto in general, or not all of crypto necessarily, right? But the core things that are going to emerge from crypto long term, so that's still intact. So if I start from there and continue on with where I think the crypto markets are headed, I do think we will find a bottom, resume this uptrend without going to some really, really long, grueling bear market because of the adoption that we have now. And so could that bottom be here? It very well could be. Could it, could this be a fake out? We find it later. Yeah, it also could be. But in the short term, what I think this is really showing us is casting doubt on the doom and gloom scenarios for crypto that I've just seen on the table. So the other thing I want to say about this is we have to always consider what's going on outside of the crypto space because that is such a huge factor right now. We've got, we've seen a bunch of, kind of stuff come up with the macroeconomic landscape. I don't pretend to be a macroeconomics expert, but I try to stay up on the issues because they are important in the space and try to keep you all informed on them as well so that you can try to make your own decisions on this. But we've seen the Fed talk about raising interest rates. We've seen, basically just, issues pop up in the just across the world. People are worried about what's going on in Europe right now with the potential conflicts there. But the other thing I want to talk about this week that's on the radar is definitely the inflation report. I believe it's going to come out on Thursday. Can you fact check me on that, Walshy? Do we have inflation report on Thursday? I think it is.
I got Google. I mean,
yeah. So
I don't have the best one for you though.
So anybody who's like, thinking about short-term trading, which I never, I don't really do a lot of short-term trading myself, especially in these conditions. I do some, but not major stuff like major cap cryptos. That is something that could get a potential rejection because crypto doesn't like bad news right now. That's for sure. It's interesting when crypto is really strong, has a lot of tailwind behind it. The bad news doesn't seem to phase it as much, but when crypto's in a bear market and we see bad news, it doesn't look. It always has a negative effect.
Yeah, for sure.
So we saying Thursday on there?
I'm still looking. It's not.
Let's go with. We're just gonna go with Thursday. I'm pretty sure it's Thursday. So don't quote me on that for sure, but I'm pretty sure sometime this week.
Yeah. Lee Robert confirms, at least in chat, he's saying Thursday.
Okay, awesome. So check it out for sure. That's what I have on your radar. But in the short term, this is an encouraging price action right here. I'll put it that way. So let's jump into some other cool stuff happening in the space right now, because like I was saying before, the adoption for crypto is absolutely just continuing to crush it. And that's my base case, is adoption means that crypto succeeds long term. Okay, so let's jump into this first thing that we saw pop up over the weekends. So catch us up what's going on with Google and blockchain. Walshy?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's some really big development. So Sundar Pichai, who's CEO of Alphabet, which is Google's parent company, ouch, slapped my hand on the desk. Said they're definitely looking at blockchain. That's some really, really great developments. So they've expressed an interest, of course, specifically in augmented reality, something that personally, I'm extremely excited about as well. Think of it as a video game HUD for your everyday life. That's what augmented reality is. You actually see examples of that on like TikTok, on those filters where they change you into a cartoon character or do other things. That's just an example of augmented reality in current existing day technology. And of course, Sundar Pichai is extremely bullish about that. He wants to integrate that technology with like their actual services. So we're talking about like Google Maps, YouTube, Google Meet, etc. Every single time we see a big CEO of a big company say, hey, we are bullish on blockchain, is a great development, regardless of any kind of, like privacy concerns, etc., like how big they are, etc., Facebook, Meta, etc. Again, we are trying to get mass adoption. And so big companies looking at this industry, always bullish. Yeah,
totally. So I've got a couple thoughts here. Number one, people in crypto are going to have a mixed reviews about Google getting into the space just because of the philosophy of decentralization and privacy versus how, Google has classically done things in the past. There's going to be that. And but I think I sided with Walshy here in saying that like adoption is ultimately what matters. Like we're building public blockchain infrastructure, right? And like we don't really want to control who can participate in that, right? Like that's the opposite of decentralization and permissionlessness, right? So like big companies are going to jump in this space. And it's just like with crypto, like crypto has people like you and I, like all of us watching the stream inside of it, but it also has institutions and VCs, right? Like we don't want to try to keep them out. It's just that we all have a shot too, right? So that is going to change the dynamics of things. I guess the couple things about Google here too. Google has done some stuff with the blockchain in the past. I mean, especially on like the developer side of things. Like we have blockchain tools in the Google Cloud suite, right? Especially about like access to blockchain data, all that type of stuff. So, I mean, Google has done some things with blockchain in the past, but this, to my knowledge, that's always clarification, always the caveat here, is this looks like the first effort for consumer-facing blockchain products. So, like, I think I saw in the article here, they're talking about like potentially how they could integrate it into like Google Maps, for example, right? That'd be the first time that you'd ever see something like that, at Google. Now, and it also looks like this is strongly overlapping with the metaverse, and I think that's the big draw here that might have been sort of the tipping point to push them into the space. When we see people like Meta, jumping into the metaverse, I think that in particular is likely the impetus for this, because we've seen Google have Google Glass in the past, all that other stuff.
Yeah, they're definitely trend setting. Meta definitely starting to pave the way for all these other big companies to jump in. Definitely agree with you there. Definitely agree with you about privacy as well. Like I was saying, like there's definitely concerns, but regardless, it's up to us as the people to whether or not we want to provide our data to Google. It's up to us as the people to decide whether or not we want to participate in a potential future Google metaverse if Google releases one. Just like the misconception with like, Facebook or Meta creating a metaverse, you don't have to join it. Right. Everyone's like, oh, you have to, like, you don't have to.
Yeah, like it's a common misconception. That's the whole idea of like free market capitalism, is like nobody's putting, I don't want to use that metaphor, it's a little too strong, but like nobody's forcing you to do this, right? Like
not at all. For some reason people think so. Like, I don't get that. I'll tell you one thing though. I don't use Google at all, really at all. I think the only time I really do use it is for the GPS based services. So when I'm driving around Google Maps, I found it's way more accurate to like identifying businesses and stuff. If you're looking at a new city, you're like, oh, where should I go? What's here? Google always seems to be top there. And so like if they are going to introduce this technology, like Google Maps with AR, augmented reality technology, I might use that. Like it's my choice. It's my data. And, if I'm going somewhere, I'd love to have the video game screen HUD of like, hey, turn here. This is what this business is, and this is what this business is, without having to like turn my head, while I'm driving. Super dangerous. Right. So I might be using that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the wearable market takes off. Time will tell. So I saw this come up too, that I want to talk about. I'll let Walshy give us the details, but NFTs are continuing to find use cases and gain adoption. Last week we saw, who was doing the NFT for the Super Bowl? Who was issuing that? Do you remember?
Yeah, that's Nouns DAO.
Okay, so are they for sure going to do it?
Yeah, oh yeah, the commercials. We actually, if you take a look at the Telegram, I actually have the commercial. I linked it. So it's fun. And Punk, I think, is 4156. Yep. Punk 4156, who's the one of the founders of Nouns DAO, might be sole founder. I'm not 100% sure there, but definitely building it. Released the commercial early.
Nice. Yeah, I want to check that out.
Do you know what Nouns DAO is?
What's that?
Do you know what Nouns DAO is?
So catch everybody up on what Nouns DAO is.
It's a lot of people don't know. At least I wouldn't expect anyone really to, unless you're like really diving deep for it. But essentially, every single day they mint a unique NFT that they auction off, and it's just an algorithm. It just automatically does this every single day, and so this will continue to go for years, decades, in perpetuity. Right, it's really cool. Really
reminds me of like a. Sorry, I don't know why my computer's went off there. It reminds me of. Like a deal of the day website or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll be able to go back, be like, oh man, 15 years ago on like September 2nd, it's my birthday. Like what NFT dropped then? And you can go and check it out and buy it if you want to. Really, really cool. There's other projects that feed off of it as well, but that's diving pretty deep in the weeds.
Yeah. So, I mean, like we're seeing new stuff for NFTs all the time, and, getting into events and NFTs is a huge thing. Like talk about the Super Bowl, and now what we're seeing is NFTs collectibles at Coachella. So you want to catch us up on what's going on here and what the big sponsorship is?
Yeah, I'll admit I have never been to Coachella, though I know my brother has. I know a bunch of my friends have and stuff, and it's the music event that you go to. To say you've been to a music event, not throwing shade, but no. But what's really cool is everyone's favorite billionaire, Sam Bankman-Fried, has released a partnership with Coachella. Is actually signed, and they've signed one on, and now they've got an entire package that go along with it. So first to mention here, this is only available on FTX, of course, Sam Bankman-Fried. And there's 3 different types of collectibles to get. There's one that actually gives you a lifetime pass for all future Coachella events, as well as other additional, benefits.
So this has ticketing. This actually has ticketing like utility to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
built a souvenir,
built
like not a souvenir like the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly right. It's not like, hey, you show up to Coachella, you get one. It's like, no, this is an actual ticket, and it's cool, of course, because when you sell or transfer the NFT to another owner, obviously those rights, privileges, the ability to always go to Coachella transfers as well. Should be pretty obvious, but I think it should be still said, right?
Yeah, but that also adds a dynamic of like it could increase in value over time. Like, what if there's what if they did it to where there's a limited supply of lifetime passes to Coachella?
Oh, well, it is actually. There's only 10.
So yeah.
There's only 10 of these, and
there's gonna be the people who are like, yeah, I want that pass for Coachella. That's gonna be like a flex to have it, and we're gonna bid it up and sell it, auction it off and stuff. Right. And then Dow's gonna buy one.
They're expensive, man. They're starting at like 55,000 already. But I definitely agree with you. Like, not only are these super unique, and it's like one of the first major ticketing, NFTs, so it's going to get that kind of value add. But also, like, there's only 10. It's going to go up pretty significantly. The other 2, one is called Sights and Sounds. And so that's more of your photography, your art based, all around like the Coachella event. And it's more artistic, so it's a little bit more collectible in that sense. I don't think there's any additional benefits, but one that I thought was pretty cool, their third option is called Desert Reflections. And so there's about 1,000 of these, and they're history based, and basically are NFTs that cover the entire history of Coachella and the event space, etc. So really, really neat. It's Coachella. It's a music festival, right? Pretty awesome. And then NFTs being incorporated into it. You'll see a lot of people that love it. You'll see a lot of people that hate it. I love it.
Well, I think Coachella is like a good market to launch this to, because first of all, it's like already like limited release, but there's going to be a strong like tech culture, and Coachella has a pretty strong overlap already. It has a strong overlap of younger people who are adapting to new technology. You know what I mean? And so I think it's a good fit to launch that for.
Definitely 100. It's definitely more of like, more of a youthful event in general. So, late teens, 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, whatever. Typically are the people that attend. So I definitely agree. There's going to be some great adoption, and, maybe it'll be a chance to kind of explain what NFTs are at a more opportune moment for some of these people where, they're actually involved in the festival. They don't know what an NFT is. They say, hey, wait, I can get a lifetime pass. What's this about? And, just to ask questions about what NFTs are. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. So let's, we got some questions in the chat here. Let's try to catch up some of these. Could you rent it out? Like if one year you couldn't go, could you just rent it out? That's a good question.
Probably could. I don't see why not. It's yours. You can do it with it however you want. I'd assume you have to sign some kind of contract. I don't know if you can put any code in there where, after a certain period of time, it will return back to the owner unless a certain, fee is paid. But why not?
Yeah, I don't think there's any way to do that particular thing because the like the NFT, like I feel like the NFT itself has to have some sort of rentable feature to show like who a temporary owner is. There'd be trust assumptions involved if you're going to try to add some additional programmability on that outside the contract. But there could be a way where you could, I mean, it's like you're
You have
not
to,
taking an
yeah.
action on a blockchain. Like you could just sign some like contract with Coachella that just says like, hey, this person is coming on behalf of me or something. I don't know.
Or yeah, you have to do some kind of IRL contract. Hope
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
stick with
yeah,
it.
yeah. Basically, is there an NFT auditing DApp tutorial? That's an interesting idea. Somebody says Coachella is already a meme, and now they're going to sell an NFT. It's like a golden ticket. Yeah, totally. All right, so let's look at speaking of more NFTs. What's going on with this multi-chain swaps with 0x?
Yeah, this one's pretty cool. So 0x has announced in their blog multi-chain NFT swap. So this is going to be EVM compatible, and initially this framework is going to be released on Ethereum. They have future plans to release on every other EVM compatible chain. You know, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Phantom, Avalanche, even Celo, and the first L2 was announced as well, which is Optimism. This is currently live on the Ropsten testnet. Um, you know, it's a little out of my normal ballpark for the actual technical aspects of it, but I do know it's up to 54% more gas efficient in this version. I think it's version 4 of the 0x protocol. Instant royalties are included with flexible modular architecture. I mean, to me, anything multi-chain, great, and being able to swap NFTs among EVM chains, even greater. Especially since you can abstract away all the complexities that other developers would have are kind of like are piecemealing right now and just kind of putting together and band-aiding on their own.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, so I don't have all the details on this particular implementation either, but let's just look at let's just take it at face value and look at what it claims to do, and then let's like break down maybe like how it's going to work. This would be a little bit of a guess without having used it before and like seeing it in person and like seeing all the stuff under the hood. But basically, so what does it do? It basically lets you trade NFTs from one blockchain to another. Now it's NFT swaps. I mean, can it also be used for bridging, or do you actually have to like trade it for a different NFT or for money on the other side,
Based on what the blog post said, it sounds like there won't be any bridging needed whatsoever. And it sounds like you can just swap between just EVM compatible chains with skipping that middleman bridge step.
But I guess what I'm saying is like a swap is like there's a wallet on one side and extensively a counterparty on the other, and an NFT is leaving one person's wallet and crypto is leaving another person's wallet, or maybe even a different NFT, and they're trading assets. But what if you own both wallets and you just want to move the NFT from here to there without having crypto on this side? Like that's what bridging is versus swapping. Do we know if it does that?
Oh man, that's a great question. I don't know at all.
My guess is no, because the 0x protocol, like the whole idea is like trading, like non-custodial trading, with like their whole like relayer technology and everything. So that would be my guess. But yeah, I mean everybody's getting into multi-chain swaps, all this type of stuff. Thorchain definitely led the race on that one in terms of making it popular. I can't remember if they were the very first person to do it or if they just kind of got the party going, but we've seen it like branch out into L2s and NFTs and everything like that.
I just love to see the architecture, this infrastructure just expand, and again, just getting added on every single day. I have a quote here from Will Warren, who is the co-CEO and the co-founder of 0x Labs. He said, "Our motivation in bringing NFT support to the 0x protocol version 4 is to provide an open technical standard for NFT markets that is technically robust, non-extractive, and consistent across EVM blockchains. Since blockchains have limited throughput, NFT communities will be forced to spread out across many distinct networks. Our 0x protocol version 4 will serve as public exchange infrastructure and bring uniformity and feature parity to NFT markets across all EVM blockchains." Again, just beautiful. Love the vision.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, I think one of the biggest reasons for this is because, everybody sees what OpenSea did and how much insane revenue that they were making, and they just peaked again in terms of revenue. So for that reason, I mean, it's all open, it's all public. information. Like we can look at it on the blockchain and see how much money they made. Like that's a game changer of blockchain technology. So what that does is competitors mobilize quickly because they can see it quickly, right? Like if you're competing with a large publicly traded company, like a lot of times you kind of have to guess or wait for like quarterly earnings reports to come out, you know what I mean, to kind of see what their actual numbers were. And I mean, but you might even be competing at that level anyway. You might be competing at a way small level, right? Or maybe the company's just not publicly traded, et cetera, right? But the whole idea is like you can see in real time what's happening, and so you can mobilize quickly and try to capture some of this momentum. And that's exactly what everybody else has done. We saw Coinbase throw their name in the hat for NFTs, talking about how it could be bigger than their crypto business, right? We've seen a bunch of other marketplace competitors hit the scene, and now we're seeing it with 0x protocol with cross-chain.
Exactly right. Yeah. Yeah, it's well said. I don't have much to add there. I think you nailed it.
Yeah, totally. So speaking of like layer twos, all that type of stuff, let's actually check on some metrics in this space. Let's take a look at L2B. So if anybody's curious, like when we keep saying L2, what does that mean? It's the layer two. I would just like to clarify this for anybody who's new, because we don't like to assume that everybody knows everything. So basically a layer two, what is that? Well, when you're talking about something like Ethereum, one of the biggest complaints about Ethereum is it's too slow, it's too expensive to use, right? And that you think you have to wait for ETH 2.0 to come out before you can fix that problem. Well, that's not really true, because ETH 2.0 is not totally going to fix that problem, right? It's actually not going to help ETH's gas fee issue. It will help with some speed a little bit, all right, but not like people think it's going to be. It's not going to be a thing that takes Ethereum up to like rivaling Visa speeds. That's what layer two scaling solutions are for. So that's where you build a second environment for transactions, where you can do a lot of the activity there, and then it uses the base Ethereum chain to get the security for those transactions and all that type of stuff. And so people say, well, why wouldn't you just do that on a separate like low fee blockchain? Well, it's because these L2s take advantage of all the qualities of Ethereum, like trustlessness, all that type of stuff. Like they get to make use of like the Ethereum validators and all that staked ETH that's securing the network underneath it. So here we're checking on L2 adoption, because this, we're talking about crypto prices appreciating over time and adoption. Layer twos are pretty critical towards that, and that's one reason I'm such a big ETH bull long term, is because Ethereum network is super valuable. We're seeing adoption of ETH technology take off over time, and that has a huge value proposition for Ether, the asset itself. We have something like Bitcoin. Like the whole idea is you just got to convince more people that Bitcoin is sound money. Whatever like the narratives are for Bitcoin, you have to just kind of like hope that those stay relevant and in demand. But with something like ETH, like you can actually start from a technology side. Is like, can you build apps that people want to use? If answer yes to that question, then that means we can have more demand for the Ethereum network and thereby Ethereum the asset itself. So anyways, let's check on change the graph here to actual ETH units of ETH locked, because this is going to be highly dependent on price. In terms of unit of ETH lock, we're still seeing quite a bit of adoption. Now, you'll notice that some of this is on a bit of a bearish trend. I do think this has something to do with crypto prices in general. I think that crypto prices always have kind of this feedback loop of like when prices go down, it can be a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy to see activity go down for a little while. I see it everywhere. I see it with interest. I see it in like social media. I see it everywhere, right? So that's part of what we're seeing here. But in general, like we're still seeing a lot of these layer twos take off. The ones I'm excited about for sure. Just off the top of my head, no particular order: Arbitrum, Optimism, ZK Sync, these general purpose ones, right? Not necessarily all the app specific ones. While they are cool, my biggest ones I'm excited about are the ones that are open platforms to anybody to build on, like a brand new blockchain, basically, where developers can move their apps over with hardly any work at all. And then we can have much faster, much more scalable infrastructure. So do you have any projects in here, Walshy, in particular that you're excited about? Maybe any apps that have launched on layer twos that we should check out, or anything kind of add to this space?
I'm pretty hyped on Arbitrum right now because I think it was reported back in May that they're going to have a partnership with Reddit, and I think that's really exciting because
Yeah.
just seeing that infusion of Web 2 and Web 3 together with any kind of just period is so exciting for me. Arbitrum itself, of course, was established. It's got the first mover advantage, being the first L2, allowing as many apps, networks, and protocols to join. Didn't have a whitelist, wasn't exclusive. Just said, hey, we're up. They opened their doors and allowed other protocols to come join them. So I think that's why like big players like Reddit decided to join with them or partner with them. It's because again, it is very open to have that Web3 ethos. Other ones did, like Optimism did open up their doors as well. And of course, as we reported just a little bit earlier, that 0x protocol is partnering with Optimism. So there's a lot of bullishness there. But I mean, right now, Arbitrum seems to be like the place to be.
Yeah, totally. Somebody says if that's what he's saying, that ETH 2.0 is useless pretty much then. No, ETH 2.0 is not useless because proof of stake is a part of ETH 2.0. Sharding is a part of ETH 2.0, and all these things we want over time.
I think a lot of people don't understand how important all of this ETH architecture development is. And of course, you can speak to it at a technical level, whereas more or less I'm just an observer in that regard while I am a student and becoming a developer, right? The thing is that ETH faces a problem that really no other blockchain has really had to deal with. And that's the fact that not only was it wildly successful, but now it's so successful that its architecture, its initial architecture has been pushed to its existing limits. And so, of course, it is the first largest, a lot of people say Bitcoin is, but like the way Bitcoin's built doesn't really facilitate this. But ETH's architecture from the get-go was built to expand upon it and upgrade over time. And so that's why all these upgrades to ETH are so important. And that's why all these other L1s, like they just haven't got there yet. And they advertise fast speeds, etc. But once it's completely congested, their networks are completely full, they're going to have to go through the same thing that ETH is doing, albeit at a different, technical level, depending on the blockchain. That's why I find it so fascinating to see ETH upgrade and see it in real time. A lot of people don't understand how important that is because, again, they're pushing the limits of cryptography and expanding and innovating. Right, that's the whole point of this industry. So a lot of people won't give it the credit that I think it's due. I think they just don't understand why it's so important.
Yeah, totally. And so I'm going to add one more point to that. I'm going to answer one more question, then I'm going to jump off for today. So the last thing about somebody asked me why is ETH2 relevant if we get all this stuff with layer 2s. One of the biggest important things with sharding that I mentioned earlier is that you're going to get an additional scalability benefit out of that. So everything that you take with all the layer 2 scaling solution, let's say that sharding ends up being a 2x performance increase, like 2x scalability in terms of everything gets twice as fast. Last time I checked, that was sort of the advertised number. We'll kind of wait and see what that actually ends up being. But let's say it's 2x. Then that takes all the scalability you have on layer 2s and multiplies it by 2. That's massive. Because at the base layer, when you do that, it's an additional multiplier. So that's really important for ETH2. So then last question I would say, somebody says, what do rollups have to do with this? That's what these two solutions are. So Arbitrum and Optimism are both optimistic rollups technologies. So great questions, everybody. I got to sign off for today. As always, great stream. Smash that like button down below. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so that more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I should become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I got for today. We'll sign off here. See you, everybody.
Yeah, later, everybody. Thanks again. You take care.
All right. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.